Welcome everyone for our studies today, Spiritism Inspiring Lives. And in this virtual environment where we find ourselves, in this study room, all of us, we will start our study with a prayer, which we ask Thais to facilitate for us, please.
Let's unite our minds and our hearts. And thank you, God, for one more opportunity to be here today on this virtual platform where we all together are here to learn with each other, to reflect in the Spiritism doctrine that brings us so much consolation, so much answers, and help us with our inner transformation, with our self-awareness, to work towards all that. We also have, thank you, the benefactors and our spiritual guides for all the love, all the care, all the patience that they have towards us through this journey on earth, where we go through so many testimonies, so many tribulations. And we ask of them so much, and they are always there, present and trying to help us. We also ask them today through these studies to help us to understand, to help us to inspire us with these reflections, so together we can learn a little bit more. This way, we ask permission to start this meeting. So be it.
So be it. May everyone feel welcome in our study today, where we are studying about why to reincarnate. It's very important to start our meeting referring to that we within Spiritism, we believe in reincarnation, we believe in the immortality of the soul, we believe that we are spirits who are on the journey of evolution for centuries, and here we are again. Today with this important theme, why to reincarnate. In order to facilitate our studies, we always have some questions which will help our reflections. And everyone who is with us through the different channels which we are transmitting this study, feel free also to engage if you feel like to do so. And we start asking Severina to present the first question for us. Please, Severina.
Okay, so the first question for today is why many of our brothers and sisters feel this existential emptiness, like some cannot find the personal meaning of life? Why is that?
Yeah, and we have seen this increasingly, unfortunately, through the pandemic, and still we see so many people finding themselves with this emptiness, isn't it? And I don't think it's a easy answer. There's an easy answer, but in a way, um, I think sometimes we focus only in searching for this happiness in the satisfaction of our material needs. Um, and or we always thinking that someone else's life is better than ours, or always focusing in the material side of things and the things that are temporary. And I think when we learn to see ourselves as immortal beings, to understand that our passage on earth is temporary, and when we start to look for this happiness that everyone wants to get there, but when we start searching for this happiness in the joy of sharing with others, for example, in practicing in practice the work towards the good, for example, that the Spiritist doctrine teaches, and give us so many examples of it, and also focus in our inner transformation. I think that will give us a sense, a meaning of why are we here, why do we reincarnate, and will fulfill this emptiness as well. Um, Allan Kardec, in one of his magazines, the Spirit magazine, is the one that he wrote in January. In 18,060, he says, let me just have a look at here, that he quoted that whoever makes the effort to understand and live the question of Spiritism will find moral satisfaction and a solution to his problems. Spiritism make men better by practicing the purest evangelical morality, much praised but little practiced. So I think and I'm not saying that only spiritism you will find this happening. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that by studying all this material that spiritism can bring us, all the Allan Kardec books, it has helped me to reflect on what I should be focusing on, what is needed for my progress, for me to find the inner peace, for me to improve, to be better, and to help others around me as well. And it has helped me as well. Of course, I haven't achieved that 100%, but at least to focus less on the material and more on the spiritual side of my immortal existence, isn't it? So I don't know if Venice or Severina would like to have a say on that.
I just would like to add what we were saying actually, talking about last week about that heaven and hell is actually state of mind. So I think that correlates with today's question about why some people maybe feel the emptiness. The state of mind is perhaps in a state, the moment where they haven't found out yet the answers they're looking for. And as we mentioned last week as well, that studying, educating yourself, and expanding your knowledge helps a lot.
Okay, it's very important. What came to my mind is when it says, it is by raising ourselves by thought above the horizons of life. That means there is an invitation by the universe through the good news that we all, as immortal beings, learn to perceive ourselves, perceive the experiences while we are on earth from a transpersonal perspective. Once we understand and we renew our thinking instead of getting hooked in the negativity, in the controlling aspect of ourselves and just complaining and lamenting around, we need to observe these negative systems and change them. Or observing us, accepting us as essentially loving beings as we all are, and essentially position ourselves in the learner process, chair, let's say, because we are all learners. And then the experience, the challenging moments, which is so natural that we all go through, each one of us according to their own needs in order to evolve psychologically, emotionally, and therefore spiritually, that we see engage with experiences, either with people or situations, from this more spiritual perspective, and always taking advantage in every moment to expand, to develop more the virtuous aspects in our psychic. In other words, the higher potentials of our soul. That is the objective of life. And in more as we do, as more as we practice that, more we are really learning to love ourselves, to love others. And in that way, we are feeding, nourishing our neediness, lack of self-love. And in that way, through this loving process, we are really nourishing ourselves and bringing meaning to our existence as well. Can we move on to the next one then, please?
The second question is, what does Spiritism teach us about the meaning of reincarnation?
So the spirits in the spirits book, question 132, they enlightens with the answer about that. And they say the purpose of the incarnation, so the purpose of leading spirits to perfection. For some, it's an expiation, for others, a mission. However, in order to reach this perfection, they must undergo all the vicissitudes of corporeal existence. Therein lies their expiation. Incarnation has a further objective, which is to place spirits in situations where they can do their share in the work of creation. So, in other words, to me, it's a sublime opportunity that we have to be here on earth, reincarnated, giving us the chance to repair what we've done and also to evolve, to learn, to practice what we learn in the spiritual world as well, and what we learn here while we reincarnate in this life, in other lives, and and how do we learn? That we learn by practicing through the opportunities that we will find while we are on our physical body. Many times we will learn through suffering, through pain, I should say. Many times we will choose to learn through love, through the opportunities, to the people that we will reincarnate around them, by means of being family or friends or colleagues. So we can learn to, some of them might be difficult. We might say, oh, I have someone in my family that is really difficult, but are they? Or is it an opportunity for us to learn to be patient, to learn to be indulgent, to learn to forgive, or even to be forgiven? Because we don't know what we have been doing in other lives. And we know that we are better today than we were before. And we are working to be better and better, to progress morally, intellectually, and to contribute to a general progress as well, not just ours. So, yeah, Severina or Evanescence?
I would like to add that the meaning of reincarnation in Spiritism actually helps me to find the purpose in life. Answer the question number one. As in Spiritism is all about evolution and progress of getting better and better. So the incarnation, according to Spiritism, means that each time you, let's say, reincarnate, you will be better than you are were last time. So from this point of view, that's helped me to understand my existence and accept the things which happen to me. Perhaps I'm not happy with, but it does help me and give me kind of peace and agreement that there must be some reason, like of cause and effect, and I am basically going through this now. So that's what helps with to me.
Yes, reincarnation within God's laws is helping us to evolve, as you rightly said. And then we can ask, evolve in what? In my ignorance? No, no, no. Evolving in terms of developing the higher potentials. So there is a very important reason, purpose for why I'm living with who I'm living, relating with who I'm relating, experiencing the experiences that I'm experiencing, the losses, the gains, the disappointments, the frustrations. There is a reason for me as a mortal being, a spirit, to learn to restructure myself, to re-educate myself so that I can learn to love myself and love others. What does mean love? Because the objective of the reincarnation is learning to love. No one evolves without love. So what means love in our stage where we are? Learning to respect myself, learning to respect my neighbors, uh, respect in all senses. Don't do to others what you would like not others to do to you. Learning to be honest, learning to be sincere, learning to be humble, learning to be benevolent, learning to be indulgent, learning to be forgiving, exercising constantly on a daily basis with all of those who are around us in any situation. That is the purpose of reincarnation. In that way, we are redoing, re-educating ourselves through what needs to be addressed in the changing process, therefore evolving, and also other aspects and situations which perhaps we are facing for the first time. But all of those situations are mechanisms that are helping us, if we use the free will to do so, helping us to progress. Because it's not only because I'm reincarnated that I'm evolving. I can stay stationary for some time. I cannot go back, but I can keep stationary if I choose to pass without efforts, without re-editing myself, without changing myself, without passing the test that life presents to me in promoting goodness within and without. So our purpose, or our initial choice, is that we choose ourselves to love, and in that way we are promoting, yes, the purpose in our existence to do good for us and for everyone. So should we move on to the next one?
Okay. The third question is, would any spirit be exempt from going through reincarnations?
I think if that was the case, we couldn't say God is just, isn't it? Because he wouldn't be just to everyone. So it's important that we remember that God created us all the same, simple and ignorant, and there was no exceptions. It's the same opportunity to all of us. Might be presented in different ways. It will be presented in the ways that we need to learn, and the way that we find ourselves in our evolution, isn't it? In our understanding, the way that we can understand as well the opportunity, but everyone has the opportunity to evolve. And as Evanice said on the last question, it's true, the merit, the hard work that we grow, that we evolve, is through promoting the goodness that you mentioned, Evanice. And what is the pace, why some are more evolved than others? Well, to start with, spirits were not all created at the same time. But even if they were created, if we comparing ourselves to someone that were created at the same time as as us, there's no way to know anyway. But the pace is up to us. It's the choices that we make. Is where are we focusing? We were talking about that when we were talking about the emptiness that we feel. Are we focusing all the material things surrounding us, or are we focusing on the spiritual side of things, and knowing that we are immortal beings? Am I focusing in just acquiring material things like houses and cars and money, and having a life full of vanity? Or am I focusing in actually promoting that goodness, in developing these high potentials that you also mentioned, Denise? So the pace is up to us, and it's a good reflection for all of us, because we should be asking us every day, what are we doing to this opportunity that is reincarnation, isn't it? There's Saint Augustine says that every night we should be reflecting, what have we done through our day, isn't it? And I think it should be even more vigilant. Perhaps it shouldn't just be once a day, every night. It should be all the time. Isn't it? What am I doing? What am I saying? If people are gossiping around me, am I actually enter that conversation and contributing to the gossiping? If someone is discussing around me, am I actually contributing to that environment, or am I trying to disperse things? Or even if I'm not able to, what am I doing mentally with my thoughts? Am I praying? Am I connecting to the superiors? Who am I connecting to? So it's all things that we should create a habit of being more aware of where we are, what are we thinking, what are we saying, and reacting less, because I think sometimes we are very reactive. Things happen and we just react, and we leave it the thinking for later.
Yes, when you said we are aiming to be more aware, which is true. That is part of evolving. As more unconscious we are, less aware we are. But I would also say, when you were talking about is the purpose is for us to learn to be more aware on the self level onwards, because sometimes we are over aware on the ego level onwards, which is really overreacting, as you wisely said, or being very jealous, very angry, very controlling about people's situation, thinking that we are better than others, which is a great illusion, because no one is better than other. The one who is better than others is the one who loves more, the one who is promoting goodness without the need to be seen and be always putting other people's down. So it is really be aware, be conscious, be awake, as Joana de Anjos, the Enlightened Spirits, always teaches us. We need to choose to be more vigilant, more aware. And there is a training. There is an exercise that each human being will go through their evolution process and train themselves. As more as we do that, better we become, not to know about others much, about ourselves, what goes on within ourselves. What is the type of thought that I'm nourishing myself, that I'm feeding myself with? Which kind of thinking is coming from my own self? And if it's negative, I have the power, I have the free will to change that in case I want to promote it. And hopefully we choose to do that now in the present, because as more as we review and renew our thinking, better and healthier we will end up to be, and more we are promoting our own evolution. So in that way, should we move on to the last question then, please?
The last question is, once we understand the meaning of our reincarnations, how can we contribute to our progress and to the progress of others?
I think once we understand the meaning, we will understand as well how can we contribute, isn't it? But while I was preparing for this study, I found this book from Leon Denis. I didn't know it existed. Amazing book, The Reason of Life, or The Meaning of Life, and I was on I've been reading it, and it's just fascinating. There's a lot that we can learn there. So there's this part on the chapter 5 that he said there man must first of all learn to know himself. So the self-awareness that we were talking about, in order to clarify his future. To walk with a firm step, you need to know where you're going. So he made me reflect about the understanding and being aware of our tendencies, and the need to change, to evolve, to reflect in our moral values, to understand the work that we need to do for this transformation. And then it says, it is by conforming his actions to the higher laws that man will work effectively for his own improvement and that of the social environment. So in here, once we understand this need, through studies like this one, for example, through the self-awareness that we talk, emotional intelligence, is showing that we must act, we must be proactive. Is through our merit, as we said before, through hard work, efforts. Then he carries on saying the important thing is to discern these laws, determine the duties they impose on us, foresee the consequences of your actions. Again, taking responsibility of our choices, our decisions will impact in our progress, will impact in others as well. So it's taking responsibility and knowing that whatever we choose to do will be consequences, and then it's up to us if it will be good consequences or not. And then the day when he's aware, us are aware of the greatness of his functions, the human being will be better able to let go of what diminishes and demeans him. So I was thinking about our vices, especially pride and selfishness, that stop us so much from progressing. And he'll be able to govern himself wisely, prepared by his efforts the fruitful union of men in a great family of brothers. Again, um, it's the once we understand why are we reincarnating, the meaning of our existence as well, not just this life. We will be able to contribute to the progress, to the good, to the general good, and to our progress as well.
I just want to quickly add the Vanessa Anceloni, Dr. Vanessa Anceloni often says, do the good, visualize the good, and spread the good. That's what really can also help us and help the society around us.
That is very important. Be aware and educating ourselves, training ourselves so that we can always think in the good way in any situation. And even if we cannot change the external aspect, at least internally we can choose how we think. And hopefully as we are more aware, more conscious who we are, immortal beings, once more granted the possibility to be in this cool earth, and later on we will return to the spiritual world and later on come back again. And in that journey, once we think that we will always be ourselves, and of course in that way we will choose to improve ourselves more and more in terms of goodness, in terms of developing the universal fraternity, in terms of cooperating for the good of everyone in a free way, without our personal interests, without our arrogance and so on. And in that way, we are really potentializing ourselves as spirits and promoting us psychologically and emotionally so that our experiences or life becomes easier, although there are challenges. That is very fundamental. Training or free will, training ourselves to be better today than we were yesterday and tomorrow better than today. And in that way, we are coming to the end of our study today, giving thanks for all of those who have been with us, incarnates and all of those in spirit, but also with us learning in this room where we find ourselves now, even if it's virtual, but it's a spiritual environment where we all are interconnected and assisted by the enlightened and good beings who are with us. So in that way, we invite all of us to conclude our study through a prayer. May we all look within and perceive ourselves as loving beings, essentially as we all are. Despite of the different stages of understanding and awareness, we all have been created simple and ignorant by God, who is a loving Father, who created us all with love. And all of us are in this long journey of spiritual development. May we in these moments express our gratitude for these studies, for these reflections, and also choose ourselves to change whatever needs to be changed within us, to constantly observe and analyze what we are thinking. Bear in mind that we are the ones who choose which thoughts we nourish and feed ourselves with. Let's train our minds in being more charitable, being more empathic, being more humble, understanding that humbleness is the greatest power that the Spirit carries in order to evolve, progress, and learn, always, with everyone, everywhere. We also give thanks for the enlightened spirits who also present and always present the message of the good news to all of us, helping us to perceive ourselves as immortal beings, to perceive ourselves as good beings essentially as we all are, to help us the merit of our efforts, and constantly inviting us to use prayer as a strengthener when we are in challenging moments in our learning process. We also give thanks for all of the good, enlightened friends, spiritually speaking, who are with us, constantly inspiring us for us to learn and choose to commit ourselves in being good within and be good without, cooperating for the good for all, in our homes, with our families, in our workplace, in our communities, to choose to be beings and instruments of light, of love, of goodness, today, tomorrow, and always. So be it. Thank you for all of those who have been with us, and also inviting those who want to join us later on tonight at 8 p.m. with our study in Portuguese, Evangelho e Mediunidade Minha Vida. Otherwise, we hope to see you all next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Much peace to all. Bye-bye.